6月15日です。さあ今日もやっていきましょうというわけでね、シュンペーターっていうやつですね。The Riddle of Samson サムスンからの、謎々、サムスンの謎々かな。シュンペーターってここの記事ってなんかその経済のビジネスにまつわるなんかコラムと言っていいのかな、なんかそういう位置づけらしいですね。What is waiting on one of the world's most remarkable companies? Even in a corporate world life このライフめっちゃ気になんねんな。RIF これ今日終わったら調べよう。with despotic founders, complex cross-shareholding and cult-like imitation rituals, Samson stands riveting story chronicled in a new book, Samson Rising by Geoffrey Cain is one of entrepreneurial daring do and excruciating work habit mixed with scandal, vendettas and political intrigue. What the author, a former contributor to this newspaper, skips over is先進国における途上国か発展途上国における借金の簡単な説明ってこと。現状のブリーフィングである。 Next in line Hong Kong emerging market 6月17日ですね。じゃあ今日もやっていきたいと思います。 Finance and Economics、国はどこかな。ベーリングアウト、ワシントン DC、アバーティングナイトメアオンメインストリートの続きかな。じゃあまた新しい記事の内容かな。メリッサデル to good to effect Washington DC こっからかな。前に読んだんやけど The colonial institution was the Spanish imposed meter system in Peru and Bolivia, which between the 15 kind outside it。何言ったのか分からんわ。Muddy Waters has evolved。evolved ってよく出てくるね。これは今日は絶対調べよう。evolved into a short seller with a global purview。The art of bezel is to inflate profit, pump up the stock price, and quietly sell your shareholdings to credulous outsiders. But money is not the only incentive. Vanity is also a factor. Jeff Skilling, the boss of Endon, a book cooking firm that went bust. Boston の調べてみようか。Spectacularly in 2001, had unshakable belief in his own acumen. Executives of his kind tend to serve up to financial results that bolster their own delusions. Once you've been put on a pedestal, once you are on the cover of Business Genius Monthly, it becomes hard to believe you are fallible, says Mr. Block. Each stock fraud is fraudulent. Each stock fraud is fraudulent in its own way, but there are common elements. One is a range between earnings as defined by generally accepted accounting principle and non-GAAP measures. Another is an increase in days payable, outstanding a yardstick of how long it takes company to settle bills with suppliers. Delay boosts the cash flow at least for a while, so does gathering more quickly payment you are owed. Firms with dress-up earnings also tend to pile on debt because they lack strong underlying cash flow. and there are grounds to suspect the worst of companies that engage in a lot of acquisitions. Allowing the accounts of acquire and acquired gives ample scope for fiddling. But looking only at numbers is not enough. They need to be cross-checked with other information. Finding it is gruesome work. There may be clues in the firm's risk disclosures. Lawyers are skilled at writing these in ways that put readers to sleep. Says Mr. Black. Stay awake though, because they occasionally slip something important in between all the gap. Transcripts of conference calls with stock analysis can also be revealing. If the company keeps moving the goalposts, then be on alert. Money Waiters has built a reputation for diligent research. A pronouncement by Mr. Brock has the power to move prices that worries regulators like Candler's detective. Mr. Brock seems to take as many beatings from cops as from bad guys. Even admirers worry about possible errors and lapses. But he is refreshingly candid about his flaws, a sense of alienation from his postcard perfect surroundings as Jan's braid and argue to expose the shadow, the baby pit and the fake. When I discovered there were all these flaws in China, it was a form of therapy, he says. There are easier ways to earn a living. A few years after shorting Orient paper, Mr. Brock topped up the numbers and found that he had lost $600. No matter. He sees no shortage of firms with accounting that distorts reality. There are real excess out there. The best has only grown fatter. もうわかんね。何言っとんか全部わからなかった。何の話なのな。ディテクティブ、フラウドって言葉が出てきたから、探偵詐欺とかね、そういう話なんでしょうね。でもそれぐらいしか単語よくわからんかったわ。ようわからんかった。フリーエクスチェンジマウンティングトゥライブだけど、まあ今日はもうここまでしようかな。なんかほんまわけわからん単語いっぱいあったから、今日はここまでです。はい、じゃあおつでした。どうもこんばんは、バッキーです。ちょっと暗すぎるかな。どうかな。まあいいや。はい。来ました。最新号。The Fire This Time ですね。最新号です。あとこれ多分ね、パッと計算したらなんか1週間ぐらい読んだ後1週間ぐらい読んだら読み終わるので、それやったらこっち行きます。はい。楽しみです。次回のエコノミスト届いたのでね。英語はよくわからないんだけれどもね。この 90%もね、結構ね、いいやつでしたね。英語の勉強がやっぱりね、一番できるんじゃないかなと思います。文字に触れていくというね、戦法ですけど。はい、じゃあ行きましょう。6月18日、Free Exchange Mountain to Crime. Why Americans are unemployed could face a lost decade.The figures are staggering even to those hardened by the experience of the global finance crisis. Disney will fall off 100,000 of its hotels, and theme park workers Uber may slash its staff by a fifth. Fully 26 million new claims for unemployment insurance have been filed in America since late March. By April 18th, more than a tenth of participants in the labor force were receiving unemployment benefit, the highest rate on record. In March alone, American firms shed more than 700,000 jobs on net. Another 2 million may have gone in April, a drop rivaling the record decline in employment that occurred in 1945 as America's armed forces demobilized. COVID-19 has spread large-scale economic disruption around the world. It is increasingly clear that the pandemic confronts America with a labor market crisis not seen since the Great Depression of the 1930s. How severe will the crisis be? America's unemployment rate rose to around 10% after the global financial crisis, and to 25% during the Depression. Recent forecasts, though beset by uncertainty, put the probable peak rate in 2020 somewhere between those figures. Modeling based on recent filings for benefit suggests that the unemployment rate in mid-April may have been around 16 according to Ernie Tedeschi of Evercore ISI, a consultancy, an analysis of the macroeconomic effects of the coronavirus published on April 24th by America's Congressional Budget Office (CBO) paints a similar sobering picture. Sober ラーメンにするやつかな。Sobering picture, I think that it might have been the bias with which the bad bias recombined on its way to becoming SARS-CoV-2. Penguins are used in traditional medicine, and though they are endangered, they can nonetheless be found on menus. There are apparently no record of them being traded at the Huana market, but given that such trading is illegal and that such record would now look rather than incriminating, this is hardly proof that they were not. The fact that penguins are known to harbor biases from which SARS-CoV-2 could have picked up its human compatible RBD is certainly suggestive, but a range of other animals might harbor such bias too. It's just the scientists have not yet looked all that thoroughly. The RBD in SARS-CoV-2 is useful not only for attacking the cell of human beings and presumably penguins. It provides access to similar cells in other species too. In recent weeks, SARS-CoV-2 has been shown to have found its way from humans into the domestic cats. From the mink and a tiger, there is some evidence that it can actually pass between cats, which makes it conceivable that they were the intermediate, though there is as yet no evidence of a cat infecting a human. The market appears as a site for the human infections behind the Wuhan outbreak remains strong. A market in Guangdong is blamed for the spread of SARS without a known intermediate, though the evidence against it remains circumstantial. Though many early human cases were associated with the market, plenty were not. they may have been linked to people with ties to the market in ways not yet known, but one cannot be sure where to begin. The viral genomes found in early patients are so similar as to suggest strongly that the virus jumped from its intermediate host to people only once. Estimates based on the rate at which genomes diverge give the earliest time for this transfer as early October 2090. If that is right, there were almost certainly infections which were not serious, or which did not reach hospitals, or which were not recognized as old before the first official cases were seen in Wuhan at the beginning of December. Those early cases may have taken place elsewhere. Ian Lepkin, the boss of the Center for Infection and Immunity at Columbia University in New York, is working with Chinese researchers to test blood samples taken late last year from patients with pneumonia all around China to see if there is any evidence for the virus having spread to Wuhan from somewhere else. If there is, then it may have entered Wuhan market not in a cage but on two legs. The market is popular with visitors as well as locals, and is close to Hankou railway station, a hub in China's high-speed rail network. Further research may take. はい、読みました。眠たい。今日はここまでにします。おやすみなさい。こんばんは、バッキーです。6月19です。一文だけ、今日は文読んで終わりたいと思います。どこまでいったのあった。Further research may make when, where, and how the virus got into people clear. There is scope for a lot more virus hunting in a wider range of possible intermediate species. If it were possible to conduct detailed interviews with those who came down with the earliest cases of COVID-19, that genetic sampling could be better aimed, says Dr. Embalk. And with a bit of luck, one might get to the source, but the time needed to do this, he adds, might be quick or it might be extremely long ですね。はい、今日はここまでです。おやすみなさい。こんにちは、バッキーです。6月20日30分読んでいきたいと思います。If it turns out to have originated elsewhere, the new virus's identification during the early stage of Wuhan epidemic may turn out to be thanks to the city's concentration of biological know-how that is now surely being through sequencing more virus from more sources. But until a satisfactory account of natural spillover is achieved, that same concentration of know-how at WIV and another local research center, the Wuhan Center for Disease Control and Prevention, will continue to attract suspicion. In 2017, WIV opened the first Biosecurity Level 4 ね、BSL ですね。Laboratory in China, this sort of high containment facility in which work is done on the most dangerous pathogens, allow protective antibodies for less than a year. However, further work done in 1990 indicated that despite this, people reinfected after a year developed much less severe symptoms. Blind man's buff. As this work shows, a lack of antibodies does not mean that someone has no immune protection for T cells also come into play, and that may apply to SARS-CoV-2 as well, as is suggested by a study from Shanghai that was posted recently, made released a preprint server and is thus not yet peer-reviewed. The researchers involved examined broad samples taken from 95 people with mild cases of COVID-19. They found that most patients developed neutralizing antibodies 10 to 15 days after the onset of illness, though the amounts of these varied greatly. Intriguingly かな。However, 10 people never had detectable antibodies in their blood yet nonetheless managed to clear the infection. This suggests that other components of immunity, most likely the T-cell response, are indeed crucial. That immunity to reinfection might be granted in the absence of antibodies is not, of course, an argument against antibody-based immunity password. It would just be tough luck on those with T-cells based immunity who would still not be able to escape lockdown. A more patient objection, even if antibody protection is real, is that antibody tests are not yet truly reliable and cannot in particular distinguish between antibodies that are neutralizing and those that are not. These tests can, though, still give insight into the pandemic progress by flagging up most of those who have been infected, including people who have had no symptoms. Antibody-based studies in America, Denmark, and Netherlands and other places have suggested that around 50% of the population sampled had been infected at the same point prior to testing. In New York City, the center of America's COVID-19 epidemic, the figure is around 20%. So far, no large-scale antibody surveys have been conducted in European hotspots such as Spain and Belgium. Antibody data, when combined with mortality figures, suggested COVID-19 is both faster spreading and less deadly than was greatly believed 2 months ago. But the reliability of those data depends on several things. One is the accuracy of the test. Even a false positive rate of just 1% could lead researchers to erroneous conclusions if the real rate is as small as 90%. Another is the representative of the participants. One much criticized the study conducted in Central Corona country, California, recruited its volunteer through Facebook, to which not everyone, particularly not the elderly, has access. The survey in New York was similarly skewed. It was conducted in a series of shops, and thus netted only those who felt healthy enough to go out shopping. Many of the data from Denmark and the Netherlands, meanwhile, relied on broad donors, a category that excludes the old and the sick. More governments, including those in Britain and Germany, plan to run antibody based on surveys involving tens of thousands of people over coming months. With luck, these will be more representative. A true understanding of the immune response to SARS-CoV-2 and of how that virus has spread through the world though take years to emerge. Meanwhile, endorsing uncertainties increase the risk associated with strategies for ending lockdowns that rely on people having long-term immunity from reinfection. Politicians in most countries are emphasizing their willingness to follow scientists lead in matters concerning the pandemic. Their worry now must be that science has no lead to effort. 眠たい。はい、ちょっとお昼寝したら動画あげます。